Welcome to the Heartwork podcast, where we delve into stories, struggles, and triumphs of entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal growth. I'm Dr. Sara.
And I'm Dr. Marisa. We're here to guide practitioners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and those just navigating the complexities of life on a journey of discovery that explores the dance between passion and strategy, heart and hustle.
With candid conversations, insightful interviews, and plenty of laughs, get ready to uncover how leading with heart can transform your business and life. Let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of the Heartwork podcast. Today, we are going to just come on and talk about what's happening right now. And one of the things that I was working through with my coach just this past week is life has really been beautiful. It's been flowing, and it's kind of been one of those seasons where just like everything feels quote unquote easy, right? And like it just feels very natural, and I've been incredibly happy, and just life has just been really great. And so when I came through a season that just felt more challenging. And so one of the things I was talking to him about was just that, and just this feeling of like, I feel like things are just beautiful. And the question that he posed back to me was, how easy is it for you to stay in that season? And do you then look for the seasons where you are trying to fix, or are you trying to find something wrong with it, or trying to just like find the negative almost in a lot of things? And I had just responded back and I said, I feel like I can easily ride. I feel like my cycles where I do that, I've become shorter, which I'm really grateful for. Like, because before I feel like I'd have I'd ride this major high, which when you also do that, so this is gonna be two parts of this, but because when you do that, when you're riding this major high, it's like you're only looking for the positive and the good versus just like, can you just be even keel, even in the high and the low, right? Like we've talked about this, I think, before too. So, and it's really easy for you always to like, I always used to look for the high, for always the experience. It's always the big like signs or all the things that God's trying to do, or your life is expressing itself for you with that. And so versus just like, okay, cool, life is flowing, life is good, I'm showing up and being present with my day to day, and how long can I stay in that? And it was a really reflective question for me, because it is really easy sometimes it's like when life is good, I just know that in our society, or even for me, when I first started doing this heart work, it was to do a lot of the work when it was hard. And when you were really having to heal through something and working through something, or working through wounds, and it felt messy, it felt stretching, it felt really difficult. It felt like you were always just peeling back more and more layers and more crap that was just coming out, right? Like it always felt like there was something. And now like those pieces of myself are fewer and far between, because I've done the work, and God has really done a lot of healing in my life. But it's really easy to almost want to go sometimes back to those, because it's the expression of how you can almost experience life and God, and like fruitfulness is because you work through the hard, right? So it was just kind of a cool reflection for me to ask that question back of, I don't just do this work, and I don't just show up to my life to fix a problem or to find something that's broken. I show up to this life to want to live life and to be a healing, healthy human, even when it's obviously rocking and beautiful and amazing. And why can't God be in that too? And why can't life just be incredible in that space as well? And I would rather, this is just me saying this, obviously I know my quote unquote ego, and some things will probably come out, but I would so much rather ride life here and have it be beautiful and brilliant and mysterious and adventurous and joyful and all these things all the freaking time, right? Like I say that obviously doesn't mean that life is like that, but I know that to be true. That like I know that's where God's peace is, that's where grace is, that's where that trust is. And so it just was that like beautiful little reflection for me. And so I think that too, like just to pose back to our audience, sometimes it's okay to have life be really freaking good, and for God to be in that too. Because sometimes we look to life to also be just like, it's so freaking hard. And that's our only way of experiencing God, is when we've worked through the hard and we've healed through that. And it's okay that life is beautiful, and it's brilliant that life is beautiful. And why not want to just really celebrate that and reflect in that. And it's also okay for me, at least in this space, is like, okay, cool. Can I ride this and I really be expectant for more beauty and for more life in my life? And I'm only going to continue the work even in this season as well. So it just was a cool reflection point that we wanted to pose to you guys as well this morning.
Well, and I think that that's a product of you actually doing the work is that you can even recognize the difference between those situations because there are a lot of people that have been through trauma or have constantly lived in a state of fight or flight and higher level of stress that they are always waiting for the shoe to drop. And in fact, when they get themselves into a positive or healthy situation, if it is healthy, they may actually turn that situation to be unhealthy simply because that's their life experience. And the only way they know to take care of themselves is to save themselves from that next trauma or that next issue. And so they'll end up actually creating a problem where a problem didn't exist. We see this a lot in relationships, right? So like, let's say you come from past trauma of like being betrayed or being cheated on in a relationship. Yes. And now you're in a relationship and this person honors their commitment and their exclusivity agreement with you. Yes. And they have no desire to cheat on you. But because of past trauma and not releasing that and maybe doing the heart work, you are going to be searching for evidence that this person is cheating because that's the way you've learned to protect yourself and operate from not wanting to be put into that situation. But what you're actually doing is now bringing energy to it and creating a potential fake situation where it's happening even though it's not. And so that's a hard aspect of one part of it is just having the awareness to recognize this is a healthy situation and I can be present for it because I've done enough work to know when I am creating this when I'm bleeding on something that didn't cut me, right? And then the flip side of some things is that some people are doing the work because, again, there's a problem at hand, like you said. And so we need to do something to fix it, or we recognize that there's an area that we have to explore. And so we go explore that area, and that first sign of a breakthrough, at that first kind of peel back of the layer, we're like, wow, I learned so much about myself. I get it now. Cool. Like, okay, I'm not going to do work every week. I'll, see you every other week. Or, you know what? Thank you so much for helping me work through that. Like, I'll see you next time. And now we stop doing the work because we've made a breakthrough. Maybe we released some trauma or emotional shedding and we're feeling really good. And we're like, life is flowing so positively. Like, I don't need to continue to visit something. It's already solved. And then bam. Life happens in some unexpected way. And if we had continued with the work, maybe life wouldn't have affected us in the same manner, except now it has. And so it's like it puts us back in that cycle because the body remembers the score. And typically we respond to traumas in the same way that we've learned to respond to them in the past. And so that's what we approach that situation with. It's the same way that we talk about nervous system based care and moving forward with people in their health. Their bodies are programmed to respond to certain stressors in specific ways. And so let's say you've made breakthroughs in musculoskeletal pain or headaches and migraines, and all of a sudden you get sick and you're dealing with the flu, or you've had a really hard, pressing week at work, and your body is responding to this heightened sympathetic fight or flight stress. And now you're developing a headache again. Okay, well, the point of getting regularly adjusted is to build the muscle so that when that stress and stimulus is present, your body has more tools to respond to it and doesn't get overwhelmed enough where everything starts to just go haywire and you're developing the headaches and migraines immediately again. It's like you're building up your health savings account, right? So the more you have in that account, when life hits it, it doesn't go completely tank to zero. You've got $100 in there. And so you can handle a $10 hit, right? But if you only got $10 in your savings account and you get a $10 hit, you got nothing left. We're going to overdraft. So oftentimes people will actually stop doing the work just when they've begun, just when they've started to scratch the surface. And that's actually the most important place to live in, is because life always be lifing. And there's always more to unpack and to learn. And if you don't continue to build that muscle and have that self-awareness and growth, when that next situation comes around, the person that responds to it and shows up to it might not be that best version of yourself to handle it.
Life is always lifing. It's so freaking true.
It
I
is.
mean, it's so true. Life is life in, and you actually just said this, and I love that to where it's like you have to have the messy for the joy, right? And
Mhm.
you have like it's inevitable that you are going to experience life with grief, with sadness, with
Yeah.
excitement and
Right.
happiness. So when you look at life with this lens of I'm only seeing like the good and I'm having this breakthrough after I've gone through something, you truly are missing so much potential of what you can only continue to
Mhm.
experience. And that's one of the coolest things that I've just seen just from any aspect of coaching. Like, I think I've said this, I've literally have three coaches in my life. And one of the beautiful elements to that is like for one, every other person that you talk to, like you give me a perspective to my life that I nobody else gives me. You know, that's why you and I are friends. And those all of these coaches in my life give me perspectives that I don't necessarily know to be certain and true for myself. I know what I know to be true for myself, but at the same time, they may be able to see something in me that I don't know or I'm not fully aware of at this current
Mhm.
moment. And so it's just beautiful, and I'm so grateful for it because it's been something that people can celebrate and really encourage me to be present in the beauty and in the sunshine, the rainbows, the high and the beautiful unicorn aspect of life, and also be there for me in the seasons where life is just shitty and life is crappy. And so, as you guys are listening today, I just really encourage you that it's like life is not always about having to fix something, having to find something that's broken, having to find the something that is wrong, and also to be able to heal through that. And that's only where you're going to experience life from. We can experience it in the beauty and the flow and in the organicness. And I'm a testament to it. I mean, I know you are too. Life is just kind of like ebbing and flowing and working and just like rocking out right now. And so, why can't we just also experience so much health and healing and continue to get coaching in seasons of life when it's just we are we're building brilliance and enjoying life and having so much fun.
Totally. And I think it is the measure and the mark of a person showing up as their most emotionally healthy selves when they can be in the positive and just fucking enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, can you live in, okay, yeah, maybe you can enjoy it for a day. Can you enjoy it for 2 days? Can you enjoy it for the next day? Can you enjoy it for the next day? Or are you going to be searching for something else to do to give you some kind of arbitrary meaning because now you've solved some problem that you just created
Right.
versus just living?
Right. It seems so easy, right?
It's so much easier said than done. I mean, there are even times for me where I'll be like,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure like what I'm gonna talk about today with my coach. Like, I don't really got anything to
Hmm.
discuss. And somehow, like as conversation starts, like it just word vomits out of me. I'm like, I didn't know that was in there. Where'd you come
Hmm.
from? Okay.
Literally it just happened to me yesterday. Like that was the
Yeah.
same. I'm like, I went in with one thought and it came out completely different, you know, and just because it's where my heart wanted to flow in that moment.
And I think we live a life too, and there's always these like fads and trendy things. And I think a lot of people now are really are practicing mindfulness and vagus nerve, like relaxation techniques and ways to kind of come back to the self, be more present, be more engaging with their lives. And there's this trend about like eliminating stress from our life, right? How do we eliminate stress? How to live stress free? And all of these things around decreasing stress in your life. Well, like newsflash, stress is never going to go away. It is constantly going to present itself in some kind of biochemical, physical, or emotional manner every single day. It just shows up and looks a little bit different. So it's not about removing stress. It's about making the person that responds to that stress more adaptable, more resilient, more capable of handling it without it completely overwhelming your system and you word vomiting and unleashing this can of worms inside your heart that you haven't had the capacity to address yet because you're not consistently doing inner work.
Right.
So if there's anything that we can leave people with, it's just like, just because life is flowing positively doesn't mean that you can't continue to work on the self. But that also comes with the understanding that you're allowed to just like live in the moments and enjoy the positivity versus even searching for more things for you to quote unquote fix all the time because of the dopamine hit that gives you from solving a problem.
Amen.
That's it. That's all we got to talk about today. Yeah, I'll be excited. Like, send us some DMs about if you notice this in your life or in ways that this shows up for you or people that you know, and how you've helped navigate and guide that, because it is something we all work through and all struggle with, whether we're doing our work or not. But we just want to help open up the door and question the way that you are and if you're going deep enough with it.
Well, it's just a nice, short, sweet one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. Please rate our show. Please share it. Please follow us. We look forward to talking with you guys next time.
See you guys later.
Bye.